Hi drummers, hope you're well. Right, little video for you here about your bass drum development at grade 3 and grade 4. This is going to be all about groove playing. In fact, with our sticks here, we're just going to play a straight 8s feel, man, like a basic rock or pop type of beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And in this lovely workout, these 8 grooves here, that isn't going to change. We're just going to play dead straight with our hands, with our sticks. And then the bass drum is going to be the thing that changes. Some of these grooves are literally as they appear in the grade 3 and 4 pieces for various syllabuses. Some are just ones I've come up with. They're just the sort of thing you'd expect to see at this level. I previously did a video exactly like this for grade 1 and grade 2 sort of level, and the big thing that's different here for grade 3 and grade 4 is there are more bass drums, it's more busy, and you often see little combination figures being used rhythm wise, and you also see lots of times where the bass drum is with the hi-hat in sync with the 8th note flow on the hi-hat, and lots of times where the bass drum drops in between. So loads of advantages to practicing this, I think. I mean, it's just an absolutely core thing if you're hitting the grade 3 and grade 4, because these bass drum, more busy bass drum parts start to come up and we need to be on top of it. I also think it's massive for developing your technique and your flow and your speed. And also, I say this quite a lot on this channel, but it's an idea really close to my heart. I think it's really important for developing our creativity as well. People often say to me, oh, when I get playing on a groove, I can keep a groove straight, but I find it hard to think of variations or creative ways to change it up and make it sound good. So by exposing your musical brain, man, to all these lovely possibilities, it only fuels the fire for being creative. So let's just get into it. 8 lovely grooves for you here. Like I say, they're all based around a straight 8s feel. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So we're doing that all the way. Groove number 1 has a kick on beat 1 and has another kick in between the hi-hats. Now, like I say, at grade 3, this is the first time you see this. At grade 1 and grade 2, all the bass drums, all the kicks are in sync with the hi-hat. So here we go. Groove number 1. This kick, the one that's in between the hi-hats, is on the of beat 2, dropping in between the hi-hats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Do what you got to do, man. If you're super fluent with that and you're happy with that straight away, brilliant. If not, and you're just starting off on this sort of grade 3 sort of level of skill, which, by the way, interestingly, the Rock School exam board, I read a bit of the syllabus just now for that, and it says that this is typically drummers between about 18 months and 2.5 years, something like that in their development. I think it's actually pretty difficult to pin down, but I think it's about right. I would say somewhere between a year and maybe 3 years, you start to get... The idea is at this point you start to get fluent with these more busy bass drum patterns at that point. So that was groove number 1. What I was going to say with that is if you need to go as slow as you like, break it right down, totally depends where you're at. So if you're at the point where this is still very challenging to drop that in the right place and you still find that your hi-hat stick is going with the bass drum, which almost everybody's does at first, mine did when I first started doing this, take your time, talk yourself through it, one note at a time. 1 and 2, particularly the moment with the tricky bass drum, hi-hat, kick, hi-hat. Take your time, man. Coordination is not some kind of magic thing that you either have or you don't. It's something that you build, man. You're in control of this. Just take your time with it. Expose your brain to it in the right way. Let all the neural pathways that need to come together, to fire together, let them do their thing. And just take that time to sort of make friends with it before you play it quick and say that it's too tricky. It is too tricky if you go too fast, too soon. Top tip, if you're saying the phrase, I'm struggling, these are hard, it's because you're going too fast. Just slow down, man. You've got to make friends with it first. You've got to let your nervous system, your hands and your feet and your brain working together, make friends with it. That precedent needs to be set in your nervous system for this coordination before you move on from there. But assuming that's cool, let's go on to number 2. Now here's a groove that goes. Now this is a big one, man. Like, you're definitely at grade 3 if you're playing that one smoothly. So boom, ga, boom, 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 ba. So that's got the bass drum on beat 1. It's also got the bass drum on the of beat 2, like as in groove number 1. And then it's also got 2 more bass drums on 3 and a 3 and. You see this in a couple of places in grade 3 and grade 4. In Rock School, Sweet Home Alabama, you see this groove, and in not quite the same format but the same bass drum pattern in Car Wash for Trinity Rock and Pop grade 4, exactly the same phrasing on the bass drum. So here you've got that, like I say, that bass drum in the gap on the of beat 2, 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4, 1 and So yeah, as ever, go super slow. Show your brain, your hands and your feet the combinations. This doesn't happen by magic, man. This happens by going slow at first, setting the precedent in your nervous system, and then repeating and building up speed and working it up to a musical speed, man. Cool, that's that. Just quickly, technique-wise, I've got tons of videos. In fact, a full playlist of bass drum technique videos. I will link to that below. Just very, very super quick. I'm using a heel-up technique here, bouncing on the ball of the foot to play the notes. Okay, number 3 sounds like this. So this is quite a cool little one. This features in a song called The Double Bubble Duchess, right, from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory from grade 3. And it's got a bass drum on beat 1. It's then got one on the and of beat 2, but then one in the gap, man, on the of beat 2 as well. 1 and 2 and You got it? That's the little move there, isn't it? Hi-hat and kick, and then kick on its own. And then there's another bass drum again on the and of beat 3. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again, take your time. Rome wasn't built in a day. If this is challenging, go slow. Show your hands and your feet and your brain, your nervous system, the right combinations. Let that precedent be set. Let that lovely myelination, which is a video I made a while back, take place and build it, and repetition of that slow, steady speed. It will come together, man. But you've got to persevere to make these work. Number 4. So 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 2 at the start, grade 1, 2 style. In the second half of the bar, we've got 3, 4. So on beat 3, we've got a bass drum, and then we've got one in between the hi-hats on the of beat 3, just before 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. That little move of features in grade 3 for rock and pop. Trinity, Love is the Drug. Love is the Drug by Roxy Music features there. A good example. Again, take your time, go slow. You might well find it's hard to land that bass drum in between the hi-hat flow at first. You might find that your hi-hat stick is going with the bass drum. All these things mean you're a human. That's fine. That's the starting point. It's often described as the cost of entry, isn't it? Like, that's the cost of entry, man. It's like not being able to do it at first and having to persevere through that little phase a little bit. Again, same old advice, man. It's the old stuff. Go slow. Show your brain one note at a time. Piece that coordination together. You'll get it in less time than you think if you practice it in the correct way like that, and you're persistent with it. Okay. Number 5. Number 5 goes like this. So we've got a bass drum on beat 1, a snare on beat 2, and then E and in the second half of the bar on beat 3. So on 3 E and, you've got 3, which is a hi-hat, E, which is a bass drum, and which is both notes together. Again, you've got to allow your brain, if you're finding this one a challenge, which is fine if you're just starting grade 3, grade 4 level, you've got to allow your brain to see these correct combinations happening a little bit for that precedent to be set and for that coordination to then build. So even if you're going hi-hat, bass, both, that's fine, man. You've just got to take your time and make friends with it, wrap your head around it. Okay, number 6 goes like this. I should have said, by the way, number 5 features in Don't Wanna Fight by Alabama Shakes, Trinity Rock and Pop grade 3. That little move does anyway. Okay, number 6 was that. And this was featured in a sight reading example I saw for grade 4. Here the bass drum is placed on the E, as in 2 E and the second 16th note or semiquaver of beat 2 in between the hi-hats. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4. So bass on the 1, 2 E and 3 and 4. And so on the E there, in between the hi-hat flow. The other bass drums are with the hi-hat. Okay, number 7 will go like this. This features in Rock School Grade 4, a song called Cold Pants, and it's the bass drum here is on beat 1, then it's on the of beat 1, isn't it? In between the hi-hat flow, just before beat 2. And then it's on the and of beat 3 in the second half. 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4. And then lastly, number 8 would go like this. So classic little hip-hop groove, De La Soul sort of hip-hop groove. That doesn't feature any particular grade piece. I just thought it was fun to throw in at the end as a little combination of some of the stuff that we've seen. Now what I'm doing here, just talking of hip-hop, is I'm playing these all with a straight 16th note feel. So whenever the 16ths come in, it's played straight. I'll link to my video below about straight and swung and what that's all about. You can, of course, play these all with a swung feel. So the 16ths or semiquavers running through. In a straight feel, the pulses 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, they're all evenly spaced. When you're swinging the 16ths, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So for example, number 3. Number 4. Or number 8. My advice would be practice them all straight first. Make sure you got the coordination and then swing them up, man. Yeah, with that undercurrent running through. Cool, that's that. So now what we're going to do is give them a play. So I'm assuming at this point now you've practiced those up and you've got them going to some extent and you're fairly happy with them and you at least understand them and what you're aiming for. And we're now going to drill them along to a bit of music. We're going to use John Mayer and Katy Perry, Who You Love. All this is a little jam along. Now just to be super clear, when we use songs like this as a backing track for exercises, we're not playing the part from the song. People sometimes comment things like, "Oh, I didn't think the song went like that." The drum, no, we're not playing the drum part from the song. We're using it as a backing track to basically just make it a bit more fun and a bit more interesting to rehearse these grooves. So we're playing these grooves here, which aren't the groove from the song, although they fit. Right, it's the same overall feel. The drum fills that we'll do, and let's do a little drum fill as we go from one groove to the next. As we practice, you can make up your own fill. To do that, we'll do a little 1-bar fill. They're not the fills from the song either. We're just using it as a backing track to play along to make to put the grooves in a bit of musical context and to make sure they're in time and they're flowing nicely and they feel good musically. Right, here it comes. Okay, here we go. Groove number 1, 3 and 4 and. Okay, drum fill into number 2.
My girl, she ain't the one that I saw coming. And sometimes I don't know which way to go. And I tried to run before, but I'm not running anymore. 'Cause I fought against it hard.
Okay, fill into 3.
Yourself stop dreaming who you're dreaming of. If it's who you
4. Number 4. Okay, number 5.
When you love, who you love, who you love, you love, who you love, who you love, yeah, you love, who you love, who you love. Oh, you can make yourself stop dreaming who you're dreaming of. If it's who you love, then it's who.
Okay, number 6. Okay, drum fill. Number 7.
Oh, you love, who you love, who you love. You love, who you love, who you love. You love, who you love, who you love. Oh, you can make yourself stop dreaming who you're dreaming of. If it's who you love.
Okay, drum fill into A. So always just nice to do that, to drill it in a musical context like that, just a bit of fun. Remember, we're not playing the part from the song there, we're just using the song as a backing track to play along. So thanks for watching, I hope that's really useful. Again, remember that if you're finding these tricky, people often say to me, this is where they start using that phrase most often, I'm struggling with this, I find these hard. Remember, we're talking here, well, in Rock School's opinion, about drummers who've been practicing solidly for 18 months to 2.5 years. That's their sort of take on it. If you haven't been practicing solidly for that amount of time, is it reasonable to say that you're finding these difficult? Just keep going, man. And if you need to, obviously go back to grade 1, grade 2 level, like nail those down, and then you're in a position to push on, standing on the shoulders of those lovely skills from grade 1 and grade 2 to start doing it here. Above all else, just go slow, break it down, show your brain, one thing at a time. Don't get ahead of yourself. If you're finding yourself saying this is hard, I'm struggling, you're probably just going too fast. And just enjoy the process, man. That's the whole thing. That's, funnily enough, I think once you decide to do something like playing the drums, assuming it's a hobby, and you're developing this kind of nice thing to have in your life, the performing bit, the playing things, is a nice aim. But that's not the only thing we can enjoy. I think people get quite confused about this sometimes. I mean, for me, and all the most successful students, and I use that in the sort of widest possible meaning of the word successful, that I've seen over the years, all of them have had one thing in common, which is they just really enjoy the process of learning. And some of them who've had the most success with it, I think they even quite enjoy the fact that things are challenging and things don't happen straight away, or even after a period of short or medium length period of looking at it. They actually quite relish the fact that some of these skills take some perseverance, man, and some just quality repetition. It will come. Enjoy the process of learning, put it together. That's the best advice I could give. And yeah, man, just play along with some music as soon as you can. Obviously, you've got to go slow at first, but as soon as you can, find some nice slow music. I like that because that seemed like a perfect tempo for grooving along, and a sort of first sort of reasonable speed piece of music where the grooves actually worked, like they sounded right, they sounded like musically appropriate, but it wasn't like breakneck speed. And obviously that's still quite a bit slower than some of the occasions where in grade 3 and 4 pieces you need to play those bass drum type of phrases. So just enjoy yourself, take it slow, build it up, give us a shout anytime if there's anything I can help with. Thanks for watching as always, really appreciate it. Please like, share and subscribe. If you do subscribe and you want to get a notification every time I upload a video, which is pretty much every day at the minute, please click the little bell icon. Thanks a million to all the amazing people who've supported this channel, either by buying me a coffee at my Buy Me a Coffee support page or becoming channel members at the same page, the details of which are below. I'll give you a shout out in a separate video, all the lovely new members this week. You can become a member of this channel and get drum support from me. So I will write you a practice plan. You can have a complimentary Zoom or face-to-face session if you like. We'll check in for that. Put you a little practice plan together, and I'll support you with your drumming. And actually one of the things I've noticed people using a lot in the last couple of weeks, which is one of the features, and actually it's really cool to see it all working because I see how this is a useful feature, is people playing their stuff, playing their grade piece or their song or stuff like this, whatever they're working on, and sending me a little video or sending me a link to a video, then playing it, and I'll give feedback, and I'm more than happy to give feedback on that for members. So that kind of service, I'll just support you. If you have questions, I'll give you video responses, and it's a really lovely little thing that's getting going. So thanks all a million to all the people who've got involved and become members of the channel. You're helping this channel to grow so much, and I appreciate it no end. Thanks a million for that, and I will see you soon. Cheers.